All right, I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley. That dude.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome to Speak for Yourself, the most fearless show in sports. Coming up, Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman are here to talk about their upcoming showdown, but we start today with the NBA. All right, one of my favorite lines from the TV show The Wire is when Prop Joe says that New York enforcer Brother Mouzon got more bodies on him than a Chinese cemetery. These NBA playoffs are starting to rival Brother Mouzon. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, is currently in the emergency room. His status as an NBA superstar is in critical condition. Milwaukee police claim Toronto small forward Kawhi Leonard is the primary assailant in the attack on Giannis's reputation. I disagree. It's playoff exposure. No sport has a greater regular season, postseason disparity in terms of intensity, strategy, and style of play than the association. The NBA postseason deconstructs regular season false narratives. In round one, the playoffs snatched Russell Westbrook's soul and exposed the irrelevance and fraudulence of his triple-double gimmick and maddest man on the planet shtick. Dame Lillard and the Trailblazers gave us a peek behind the Westbrook curtain, and there was nothing back there but senseless turnovers, three-point bricks, Barry Trammell questions, and Paul George's regret. In round two, the postseason clown James Harden exposing the limitations of isolation basketball, step-back three-pointers, and analytics that demand nothing but long-range shooting. Even without Kevin Durant, Golden State vanquished Harden's Rockets with relative ease. And now in the Eastern Conference Finals, the playoffs are coming for the Greek freak, the high-flying, high-energy big man and favorite to win the MVP. Giannis overwhelmed the regular season with effort, leading the Bucks to the best record in basketball. Problem is, everybody plays hard in the postseason. There are fewer easy buckets produced by simply running the floor and beating your man to the paint. There are more defensive schemes focused solely on exploding a star player's weakness. The Raptors are crowding Giannis with Kawhi and sending a second defender to stop his drives. Antetokounmpo can't shoot. He's a far cry from Draymond Green as a decision-maker and playmaker. Giannis was better last night in Game 4 than he was in a disastrous Game 3, but his 25 points were harmless, inconsequential. He's not a playoff superstar. You can't feed him the ball at crunch time. He doesn't have a post game. He's an unreliable free throw shooter. Superstars don't airball free throws in May and June. Giannis has done it twice in this series. Kawhi Leonard is defending Giannis on dead legs while surrendering 4 inches in height. Mentally, I flip back and forth between being impressed with Kawhi's heart and disappointed in Giannis' lack of skill. Are his shortcomings fixable? And is the story of Giannis in these playoffs a warning for those of us who believe Zion Williamson, the Duke freak, is going to be an NBA superstar? These playoffs, they're catching bodies and raising a lot of interesting questions. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins and Katino Mobley. Marcellus, I'll start with you. Is Giannis getting exposed in this series?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all know what's happening. And the playoffs will force you to go to plan B and quicker than you want to. And Giannis going through his rite of passage, trying to evolve as a superstar, and superstar not just in regular season, but playoff championship success. You got to go through this. And he's just going through the same thing that the greats have gone through. Jordan rules anyone. And you got to overcome the Jordan rules to become Michael Jordan, the GOAT. And you could go with the list of guys who have just had to go through this process. And Giannis went into the playoffs. We all knew it. Couldn't shoot from far. You know, the jump shot is not wet. Free throw struggles. And what was he going to do if he just couldn't go downhill, left hand, right hand layup? Well, he did it for a couple series there. He did it for a couple games. Then all of a sudden they said, wall him up. Now we're seeing them trying to go to plan B. We'll see how that works.
Cut. Is he getting exposed?
I don't think he's getting exposed. I think right now, I think what Toronto did amazing was put Kawhi Leonard on him and have everybody else cover the second and the third move. Now, I think what the problem is with Milwaukee is your supporting cast. You need two guys that's going to push the envelope. Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. You need 2 guys to do that. And on a consistent basis, Milwaukee doesn't have that consistency. Game 1, you had Brook Lopez getting 29 points. He only had 27 in the last series, total series. So when you don't have a consistency like that, it's a little harder for you as an individual. As far as getting exposed, it's been only 2 games. He's played 3, this is his 3rd series. So I think we need to pump our brakes on him being exposed. Let's wait another game or 2 because Toronto's supposed to do that. They're supposed to win at home. That's what Toronto's not a bad team. They're supposed to win at home. You have Marcus Gasol, you have Green, you have Ibaka, you have Kawhi Leonard. They're defensive players. So they're not going to let you just dominate me as well. But you have 4 guys on one person.
To me, it's not just the wins and losses. It's just the feeling that I don't feel like Milwaukee has a playoff superstar.
Well, this is my take on it, and I'm caught in between for the simple fact that I feel like right now Giannis is getting exposed these last couple of games just for the simple fact that Kawhi is guarding him, and he's not even 100%, and he's making it tough on Giannis. And the thing is that, and this is why I picked Toronto to win the series from the jump, was because it's the experience. And experience don't necessarily have to come with on-the-court play. It just it's mentally. At this point in time, when you start getting into the conference finals and finals, it's no more X's and O's and schemes and stuff like that. It's willpower.
Right.
It's heart. Everybody's tired. Everybody have aches and bruises. It's who wanted the most. And right now, everybody knows everybody tendencies, and the scout report is out there and everything. And the Bucks have succeeded expectations. I think, if their season ended today, they would be perfect.
They had the best record in basketball.
It don't
best
matter
point differential.
in regular season. But I'm saying they started the season, the Bucks in their locker room, they wasn't preaching championship.
I never believed in that best record stuff.
So they wasn't preaching championship. Toronto made a drastic change in trading for Kawhi, saying, with a chance of losing him this summer, saying, no, we're pushing this to come out of the East. So championship is on our mind. And what it is, and that's the difference between like a Golden State Warriors and like a Portland Trailblazers, for example. Portland looked fatigued and tired. Well, Golden State looked like they ready to play another 3 rounds.
And that was more mental.
And it's more mental because they've been there before. And I see fatigue kicking in, and I also see the lack of role players stepping up. Like, where's Eric Bledsoe been? Chris Middleton someday
had 29 last night, I thought.
Yeah, 30 last night, but it didn't push any envelope.
See, we saying that about
You said he needed the help.
That's Giannis, though.
Right.
That's Giannis is 25.
No, it's not just Giannis. You got Brook Lopez had 8 points.
No, I get it. Only one of them's an MVP likely winner.
Right.
Only one of them is seen as maybe the future of basketball.
Okay.
Right.
And to me, it's like, whoa, what future are we looking at? You can shut this guy down on the offensive end of the court.
And I agree. And what's happening is Giannis got to go back to the drawing board this summer. Not saying that the series
He didn't have
over.
a bad shooting night. It was 9 for 17.
But
too.
but still, but
a lot of dunks.
But Cat, it wasn't effective. Like he didn't impose his will. Like
Right. No,
it wasn't like he just imposed his will on that game. So my thing is that I see fatigue kicking in. It's the mental stage, you know what I mean, right now. And that's where the lack of experience come in. And right now, he's getting exposed. Like, the more deeper you get into the playoffs, the harder it gets.
So, Cat, explain this to me. Show all them names you rattled off, Shaq and Kobe. But name me one guy where in the final 2-3 minutes, you're not throwing the ball to him saying, go get me a bucket. You're not doing that with Giannis right now.
No, I understand that, but my point I'm trying to make is Giannis is bringing the ball up. Shaquille O'Neal is in the post, so it's harder to double out of the post. Giannis is not that type. Now, the best thing right now that's going for Toronto is that you have 4 guys on that floor that are arguably second-team all-defense type of guys. Marcus Gasol, Green, Ibaka, Kawhi Leonard. So it's very hard for one person to literally get Siakam. It's very hard for one person to really get through all of those people. That's the credit of Toronto's defensive scheme. I'm going to put Kawhi on you, and I'm going to make you, because what they say, Kendrick, when you're playing defense, all right, you know what? As a defensive player, even if I'm okay defensive player, Stephen Curry, whoever's just okay, I need you, the first move and the second move, I need you to contain that, and then we'll help.
Right.
These guys, they're not even letting you go to first, second, third, fourth because they're so good defensively with Marcus Saul and all those guys. So it's making them look worse than what he really is because he's really good. It's just that right now I don't have that jumper. And if I'm going through the whole season where I'm going downhill on you, I'm not going to try to shoot jump shots.
You just gave me the very definition of getting exposed, but saying he's not getting exposed. When they put you,
that's not his job to shoot jumpers.
Wait a minute now. Where I'm from and on my field of play, when you can't do what you want to do, and then you have to do something that's alternative, and that is not consistently working, then you have been exposed. Like you said, what happens next is you go to the drawing board. Sometimes that happens in game, sometimes that happens post game, sometimes that happens in the offseason. But right now you're exposed because you can't consistently do what you want to do with confidence.
But you're playing with the words because exposure to me, it's like Michael Jordan and who's the best. I love him to death. Right? Your first championship game, you played the Lakers. Magic Johnson had a triple-double on you. What did they do the second game? Guess what? You got an insurance package right there, Scottie Pippen. He's shutting it all down now. Giannis don't have that. He don't have another guy to be able to push the envelope.
He has another all-star.
Again, you're talking about the defensive end. We're mostly having a conversation about the offensive end, where the guy.
No, I'm talking about Toronto's defense.
No, I get it. But I'm saying, we're talking about Giannis.
Yeah.
In this league, it's still a bucket league. It's what they call it, a make-or-miss league.
Right.
Offense, putting the ball in the hole is still the most important.
Who's great on their team, Kendrick, in pick-and-roll settings? Who's great on their team? Okay. No one.
Gotcha.
So now Giannis, if you don't want to dribble the ball and come downhill so they wall me up, what should you do as a really good Eric Bledsoe or Middleton? What should you do? Pick and roll. So now Giannis is on the move, so it's harder to wall you up.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. They don't have that guy. So it's making them look more.
That's credibility, and I agree with you. But at the end of the day, I'm watching them, and they're playing him like, back in the day, no disrespect to the great Ben Wallace, but remember how they used to play, even myself. Oh, if Kendrick Perkins catch it at the top of the key,
back up.
If you the big guarding him, back all the way up to the charge circle and force Perk to shoot a shot.
Right.
And they doing this to Giannis, and he is not taking jump shots. So in a way, he is getting exposed, but I think it's good for him because now he gets to see that he has things to work on.
Two things.
Right.
Let me ask this question. Let me move to just a second question. What's been more impactful to you? Impressed by Kawhi or disappointed with how Giannis is getting exposed?
I'm impressed. I'm impressed by Kawhi. But again, Kawhi can't do that by himself because when Giannis start Euro stepping and getting in that lane, that's not just Kawhi. That's Green, that's Ibaka, that's Marcus Saul. They're making him change his thought process.
Dead. He still came up with 19 points. He's still guarding the likely MVP.
He got general dead leg
All
out
of
there
us
still guarding the MVP of the
and you
league.
know this too.
Yes.
When you pass high school, you got injuries.
Not like that. Not acute like that. Something happened to him. That's not just general fatigue and soreness. Something occurred to him, and they're just going to keep it quiet because they don't want to expose it.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm more impressed with Kawhi. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
He is the things he's showing that killer mentality, that Michael Jordan mentality. I'm fighting through it. I'm going to guard you. I'm taking big shots down the stretch. I'm still with dead legs. I'm going to still go up and punch on you and dunk on you, and I'm leading this team. I'm leading the Toronto Raptors. They're following my lead. I'm not complaining. I'm out here doing my job, and I'm taking the big shots. I'm making the right plays, and I got to applaud Kawhi, man. He's doing a great job right now.
I'm with you, too. It's Kawhi. The numbers say last two games, obviously losses at home for Toronto. 5 of 19 is Giannis for 11 points. So you say it's not just about Kawhi guarding Giannis. You're right. Because now if I'm a role player and I witness Giannis struggle against our best defender, I gain a little more confidence when it's my turn and help defense or even an ISO. So what's happening is a collaborative effort. Kawhi is leading the charge, hindered. And now other guys are feeling more engaged against Giannis too while he's getting frustrated.
I like your point, but my point is Budenholzer, in Atlanta, you had the best record. Get out of here.
Oh,
You didn't adjust. Just like Mike D'Antoni, you don't adjust in the playoffs. I'm not going to let you wall up my superstar and the other guys on that team. I'm not going to put in plays so my superstar can get released so everybody else don't wall up on him. I'm an offensive player.
Agree.
You wall up on me, it's something else I can do. That's why you can't do that to Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson.
To agree with your point, not to go back to Golden State, but what happened during the Clipper series with Kevin Durant and Patrick Beverly? Okay, Pat Bev is on KD. Okay, you know what? Steve Kerr say, you know what? I'm going to take KD. I'm not going to put the ball in his hand where Pat Bev could get into him. I'm going to run him off of pin downs. I'm going to run him off of screens.
I'm going to put him 15 feet from the basket.
Yeah, and now it's putting KD in position to be more successful. You know what I mean? Even though KD don't need it. And I feel where Cat is coming from, because at the end of the day, you have to put Giannis. Okay, if you see them walling up and you got to play in the 5, put them in the pick and roll where you could demand the switch with Kawhi not on them. You could switch where you have a smaller or lesser defender guarding them and go.
Yeah, but let's not let him off the hook totally, because even if the play. He's trying to get to a sweet spot every single time. You even said it.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there at the top of the key, you might as well just say, come on, you're going left or right. He's trying to get right there every single time. So he's not comfortable in the playmaking.
This is my thing. That a lot to me is with the coaching. So if you're not adjusting as a coach during the season and you're happy with how it is, you're not going to change it.
True.
And when you start in the playoffs, if you try to change it and it fails, you're like, damn, I should have stayed what we were doing. So you're going to stick to your guns that you best record in the league. They got you successful. You're not changing it. Just like Mike D'Antoni don't change it, and he does the same thing. He won't change it.
But I'm probably a bit more disappointed with Giannis, but I want to focus on how impressed I am with Kawhi.
Right, there we go.
Just
There we go.
because there was a lot of questions about him personality-wise.
Absolutely. Yes.
He's so quiet.
Right.
He ran away from Pop. Does he really have the heart for this? The dude is showing he's
a
got
killer.
a lot.
He's a killer.
He's a killer.
And the
I
guys
agree with
will follow in behind him, follow his lead. He's a bit of a leader. It'll be interesting what comes out about his injury or his health or whatever, or if it's just the case he didn't play enough during the regular season and he's getting worn down. But Kawhi has earned a lot of respect.
Absolutely.
Could leave my Clippers anytime.
Hey guys, Jason Whitlock here. Thank you for listening to the Speak for Yourself podcast. If you like what you hear, you should take a minute to check out the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast hosted by the Herd's very own Joy Taylor. On the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast, you'll tap into a different take on the world of sports. Joy will break down all the biggest stories from the NFL, NBA culture, in and out of sports, and everything in between. So subscribe now for a weekly episode of Maybe I'm Crazy every Tuesday night on your favorite podcast platform. Now back to the show. Time now for a big story sponsored by the all-new 2020 Kia Telluride. Give it everything. Let's move to the Warriors, who had no trouble dusting Portland in 4 games without Kevin Durant and are now waiting to find out if they'll face the Bucks or the Raptors in the NBA Finals. Owner Joe Lacob says he's confident that Durant will be back in time for the Finals, but the truth is they might not even need him. Since KD went down, the Warriors are 5-0, and while their scoring is slightly down, they're giving up far fewer points, grabbing more rebounds, and getting more points from their bench. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't think they need KD to win the title. It doesn't matter the opponent. This is the best team in basketball.
Yeah, I agree with you. They don't need KD, and it is about the opponent. These 2 opponents that are remaining, they're going to face one of them. Dusted and disgusted, as E40 would say. Like, just, you imagine being at the Warriors, somebody's house, watch party, Draymond having it, wings out.
Yeah.
We eating, and we watching this game. And we've always watched the game through simulation when we're not on the court.
Right.
When you're watching somebody else, you're like, oh, this is our next opponent. Let me watch. Okay, oh, brick, whatever. Brick, oh, damn. We would have made 2 of those. All right,
Yeah. Right.
Mario coins start going off. Ding, 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 ding. Like, the Warriors will light this team up in their dry patches. It's over. So KD, whatever that's going to do in terms of impact towards his free agency, that is a political decision you have to make in terms of, hey, we need KD, or we don't need KD. But beyond that, in terms of X's and O's on the court, they can win without KD. Trust.
Yeah, I don't think they really need KD for these 2 teams. Maybe if they were meeting the Houston Rockets, different. But when
Yeah,
you're
because they struggled without KD against Houston.
A whole
no,
series,
well, no,
though.
what
Come
I'm
on,
saying,
Whitlock.
I'm
A
just talking about
series?
more of a whole series, but
A little different.
They beat him in Houston.
well, yeah, I know they beat him in Houston,
ahead,
but still.
They lost to him, though.
But still, it's more of a, for me, I think watching Milwaukee and watching Toronto and watching how they shoot, how prolific that Golden State is as far as shooting, and watching how Milwaukee and Toronto play defense and they walling up, you can't wall up Golden State. You don't need KD for that. KD can sit and relax and rest and then cheer on his boys. But for right now, the way Golden State is playing, neither Milwaukee or Toronto can beat them, to me.
And I have to agree. And I said a while back that the Warriors needed KD to win a championship. But after watching these two teams in the Eastern Conference and watching this Golden State team demoralize Portland, I mean, it was child abuse. I mean, what they did. And the thing is, if they don't have KD, then you have the Warriors pick. Then I have the Warriors pick to win in 5 or 6 games. But if you have KD, then I'm looking at a sweep.
It's a sweep.
But the question is this: we keep talking about KD. DeMarcus Cousins also is getting healthy. So do he come back? What kind of effect does he have on the team?
I want to go a different direction. I want to get to why Golden State doesn't need KD in this postseason. And to me, it comes down to one person and the best playmaker left in the playoffs, and maybe the best playmaker in basketball is Draymond Green.
Oh, well, thank you.
without a doubt.
And they don't.
Without a doubt.
Either Toronto or
Without a doubt.
Milwaukee have anybody
without a doubt.
that can be a playmaker.
Without a doubt. Guard 1 to
decision
5.
maker.
Guard 1 to 5.
But not just that, but just initiating the offense.
that's what I'm saying.
Just
And I'm glad you said that, Whitlock, because I said this time and time again, he is everything that you want in a basketball player.
Yes, you did.
Draymond brings, tell me something he can't do. Yeah, he's a streaky shooter, but anything else outside of that, tell me what he can't do. He gives Golden State swagger. He brings the tenacity. He brings that edge. And I'm telling you, man, Golden State, Draymond Green is invaluable. I mean, you can't find another Draymond Green in this league. You cannot find another one. And you dead right with that. It's not another guy like Draymond Green in this league.
And you talking about playmaking. Playmaking is not necessarily offense. When I look at playmaking, for me, playmaking is initiating fast breaks off of loose balls, off of charges, deflections. And that's what Draymond Green does the best out of anybody in the NBA, right? Anybody. So just because, he come down, miss rebound. If I don't know how to dribble, I have to give it to a guard first. He's dribbling the ball after a missed rebound. These guys are just going. Like, he's so important. He does so much for that team. I mean, like I said, we had this conversation the other day. Yes, Stephen Curry, you're impressive. But Draymond Green, you are super impressive.
I'm going to say that I'm a little older than you guys by about 10 years. And so but I know y'all watch, but I just don't know how much y'all remember. But when Draymond gets the ball at the other end in the paint, it reminds me, Magic Johnson used to get the ball like that, and then he come rushing down court, and you'd be like, even watching,
on your
you'd be like,
heels.
oh my God, here he comes. What's about to happen?
Yeah. Right.
Because he could go all the way to the hole, or it was going to be Worthy on the baseline, or it was going to be Byron Scott hitting the three, or he just pull up and say, come on, big fella, I'm going to throw it down.
Everybody can't do
And
that.
you just, who else has it been like that when they just rushing up court, and it's particularly a big man with that kind of vision? I hate to compare him to Magic,
No, but it's true.
that's
true.
It's true.
And that decision
That's a
making.
great point.
Yeah, a
That
lot of guys
decision-making.
run. Let's be respectful. A lot of guys try that. A lot of guys do that. John Wall,
Well, no,
Russell
Jason
Westbrook.
Kidd.
We've seen it, but
Yeah.
then the IQ has to kick in, Jason Kidd level, Draymond level, where you're making the right decisions and pace of play. The thing I love about him the most, not to be redundant what you guys said, but a little different is he makes them comfortable outside their comfort zone. That tenacity, and I played with guys like that, like Rodney Harrison, Junior Seau in football. When they pushing it like that, you like, But then that becomes your new norm. And you can see that swag and that confidence and everything comes out of those guys based on Draymond saying, we always going to max this thing out. So that, like you said, is invaluable.
It's invaluable. And then, like, even I was more so impressed that, and see, what a lot of people don't understand is that Draymond Green actually played the 5 at Michigan State. So he's comfortable with playing different positions. And I was more impressed on the series when they played the Rockets, how he made Capella a non-factor on the defensive end.
He's amazing.
And he made Enes Kanter a non-factor where he couldn't even play. But his decision-making, man, and I have to applaud his professionalism because he didn't make the All-Star game this year. He had an up-and-down season. It was, things weren't going well for him. What he did was the last part of the season, he locked in, he lost 25 pounds, and he got ready for this long haul. And right now, man, he is the heart and soul, once again, of this team.
I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this at all as a shot at Kevin Durant, but it's just the reality. Kevin Durant made the Warriors lazy. They all could relax a little bit.
And I want people out there to understand what you're saying. It's not a knock on Kevin Durant, but when you have the best player in the world, yeah, when I'm at home, I'm a cook, okay?
Right.
I can cook, but if somebody's gonna come in the house and cook every day,
Chef it
I'm gonna
up.
let them cook.
Right.
I can clean my own house.
Right.
But if I want to pay somebody to clean the house,
That's
I'm
true.
gonna let them clean the house.
Absolutely.
There's no knock on Kevin. It's a
Luxury.
luxury.
It's a luxury.
And sometimes people get lazy with that luxury.
Yeah.
And again, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and to a certain degree Klay Thompson. Now that KD's gone, they've all stepped up their effort. The guys on the bench have stepped. Everybody's playing
Right.
hard.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful to watch.
And on another note, just to end, once again, Klay Thompson don't get enough credit. And he's been the best shooting guard in this postseason.
Yeah.
To me, he's been the most consistent, and he's been the best 2 guard in this season on both ends of the floor.
Tough to play.
All right, we're joined now by a couple of champions, Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman. These guys face off for the WBA welterweight title July 20th in Las Vegas at my favorite casino, the MGM. Manny, I want to start with you. You're 40 years old. You're taking on a guy in his prime, undefeated. Would this be your greatest accomplishment if you were able to beat Keith Thurman?
Yes, this is the test of my career, being 40 years old, and I just want to prove it that I can still fight at 40 years old.
Yeah, we saw you against Adrian Broner looking good. Another win. Pacquiao 2.0, Keith. Compare him to the iconic Pacquiao first version, which we all grew to love.
Yeah, Pacquiao was so devastating when he was coming up in the ranks and making a name for himself at 147. Him sitting right next to you, he's always been a smaller man, but he just comes to fight, man. I mean, the fans love Pacquiao. I've always enjoyed Pacquiao fights. I'm looking forward to being in the ring with him. But, obviously, I'm going to show him at 40 years old, he does not belong at the top anymore. And that's what's going to happen at the MGM Grand.
Oh, Keith, I want to ask you a follow-up. I get Manny's motivation. This could be his greatest accomplishment, a cherry on top of a Hall of Fame career. I don't understand why you're fighting Manny. I
like that.
Rather than Errol Spence, someone else, someone in their prime.
Well, first things first, for those who followed me in my career, they know that I had a 22-month layoff when I fought. A week after Manny fought Adrian Broner, I fought in New York City, a comeback fight against Jose Cito Lopez. So that was 22 months out of the ring. Athletes, when we get injured, I told everybody, I'm not fighting the young guys this year. This is a get-back year. January, I got back in the ring, and now I get to fight a veteran. This is a beautiful moment in the sport of boxing. This is history. This is the old guy versus the young lion. Does the veteran have what it takes to show that he's the vet and that young guys can't just come up and win because they're young? They got to work harder than that. And for me, Manny Pacquiao is a legend in the sport. He's a Hall of Famer. And for me to end his legacy is the start of mine.
Now, I get he's a cash cow, too. Let me put on my promoter hat. I mean, you can say all that you want, but compare this version, what you expect to see, and prime Pacquiao. What's the greatest difference?
Well, I think the first thing is we haven't seen Pacquiao knock anybody out in a while. I have myself personally, I haven't had knockouts, but he's motivated. He knows he's fighting an undefeated young champion. He wants to make a statement. I'm fighting a older man who believes he can beat a young man. For me, that's disrespectful, you know, in the first place. Well, as soon as you signed the contract, you disrespected me. You know, I appreciate it, you know what I mean? And I can't have a career if nobody signs contracts. But as a fighter, I get a little offended, like, oh, but he has confidence. He thinks he's going to do something, you know. But that's how I take all fights. And Manny Pacquiao is no different.
Manny, I'm an old man. I want you to beat this young guy's ass. Tell me why you're going to do it. Why can you beat Keith Thurman?
I think based on my experience in boxing, and I've been in this sport for more than 2 decades, and my experience will show. And I think I saw his style, and I need to work hard. I admit that I need to work hard and 100% condition, make sure 100% condition on July 28th, because he's tough, he's undefeated, and I'm so motivated because I'm fighting a young and undefeated.
Manny, are you going to continue on? Do you want to fight Floyd Mayweather again?
Well, anytime I'm still in this sport, so anybody I can fight. But right now my focus is with Keith, because we know I believe that we can bring good fight to the fans, and that's why the fans should watch this fight, because it's going to be a lot of action in the ring.
I love the respect up here right now.
A lack of respect over here.
Well, he said it, but there was times where I question if it was so respectful. You say you're going to retire Manny Pacquiao the same way he retired Oscar de la Hoya.
Yes, sir.
You want to explain that?
You know, Manny Pacquiao, he was making a big name for himself at that time, and Oscar was just a huge name in the sport of boxing. I mean, he was the golden boy. You know, we knew he was a little bit over the hill when Manny stepped in the ring, but Manny didn't. He was still up against a bigger man. He still was up against Oscar De La Hoya, and he dismantled De La Hoya, stopping De La Hoya and being De La Hoya's last fight. I want to make a big statement like that at the MGM Grand on July 20th. You know, I'm a boxer full-time. He's got 2 jobs, you know. I mean, it just sounds like he's ready for retirement, you know. And how many people in life get to punch a senator in the face, you know? I mean, this is going to be a fun event.
Wow, Pacquiao.
Well, my answer is this: I'm not Oscar De La Hoya. I'm different compared to him. The way I work hard, the way I train, I always motivated. The way I work, prepare for the fight like this, especially like this, fighting with a young and undefeated. We'll see. I mean, it's hard to talk too much right now, because July 28th it's not yet hit.
Like talking with them hands, huh?
Yeah, exactly. What I'm talking about is, what I'm saying is, the fans should tune in and watch this fight, because I'm pretty sure, guaranteed, that this is going to be a good fight.
Manny, meeting you, and this is the first time I've been this close to you. I've been to some fights or whatever, but you do seem like a politician, a dignified person. You seem a long way away from the mad fighter, the hungry fighter you were 20 years ago on your way up. Can you recapture that fire? Because it's going to take that kind of fire to take on someone like Keith. Can you take off the suit and tie and not be a politician and just be the beast you need to be to take out a guy like that?
Oh, yeah, like I said, I'm so motivated for this fight. It is different than the past fight that I had, but this fight is different because he's saying that he's going to send me to retirement, and I believe that only God can will tell me when I'm going to retire, and not a man. I mean, not my opponent. And also the way I work hard, the way I train, I think I have to prove it on July 28th.
Ooh, don't let the smooth taste fool you. That's what I just heard him say, basically. Looking at Keith and his game, what's his greatest weakness that you want to exploit?
You know, I saw a lot of weakness of him, but I will not tell you because that's my my
You said enough. I see a lot of weakness here. You said enough.
Pete, let me ask you this before we let you go, because I want to pin you down on one thing. And look,
Okay.
I will be at the fight July 20th, the MGM. That's my favorite hotel. Love the fight. Can't wait to see this fight. However, did I hear you say that next year you're going to take on the Errol Spencers of the world, the guys in their prime?
Well, like I said, I need to get the ball back rolling. It's been 4 years since I fought twice in 1 year.
Are you going to fight Errol Spence?
I'm going to fight whoever they put in front of me. I want more belts. I want more money. I want more pay-per-views. Errol Spence, whoever's winning, he's still got to stay winning. I believe he's going to win. I believe he is number 2, and I'm the number 1 welterweight in the welterweight division. Until the man beats me, they cannot call themselves number 1.
You and Errol Spence would be magical. We had to wait forever for Manny and Floyd. Don't make us wait on Keith and Errol.
And you're not going to have to wait long. Like I said, let me get back in motion. I told all the writers from the beginning of this year, we're not talking about Spence this year. 2020, we can make it happen.
Perfect. We just heard it, 2020.
2020.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you both. Can't wait to see you on July 20th. Whitlock and Wiley. We're joined now by former Pro Bowler Sean Merriman. Time to get antisocial. Media manager Darnell.
I love it.
Lights out.
Represent, baby.
My guy, how you doing?
Hit it real quick, though. Yeah. Do it one more time on camera. Yeah. Oh, that thing was hype.
Gonna break this chair, bro.
Oh, San Diego. Boy, I used to be so hype. I used to love seeing you.
All right, what's cracking on those Twitter streets, Darnell?
Yes, sir. So Game of Thrones superfan Aaron Rodgers, who also made a guest appearance on the show this season, was asked about the series finale yesterday and went off on an epic rampage. Take a listen.
You come down to the end, and Tyrion says the person with the best story is Bran. Dany had a better story. Arya had a better story. Sansa had a better story. Any Baratheon, better story. Knowing that Tyrion would talk to Varys, knowing they'd scheme for Dany's death, knowing that would piss her off. I don't want to be king. Oh, but why did I travel all this way to be here? No. I love the opportunity to be in the show. Most people probably don't think I was, but I was there. The writers were also doing Star Wars, so I think they might have been a little busy this last season.
I thought Rodgers was keeping it real here, but you have a problem with this?
Whitlock.
Yeah, I do. Honestly, good. This and again, I like Aaron Rodgers. I really do. But this is why he has a problem. They let him on their show, elevated his platform to talk about their show, and then he dumps on it.
He dumped on it.
And you know what? The people at Game of Thrones have to be irate.
Yeah, that is real.
That's not
how you do it. But you know what? Aaron Rodgers got back home, saw that SAG rate, and was like, that's how much they paid to be on this episode. The boo on this show, 17 cents. No, I mean, I've never watched Game of Thrones at all, but watching him in this interview made me say, I'm glad I didn't. If it's that confusing to one of the enthusiasts, it's crazy.
Yeah, I just like the passion. We've never seen this much passion and emotion from Aaron Rodgers. He's never, about football, he's never been this detailed, with this amount of criticism.
That's real.
Ever. So I think we've seen him for the first time have a true feeling about something. He let him have it.
This is a bad teammate, man.
That is. How was he in the episode? Did you see it?
It was quick.
It's an extra. It was quick. But again, they did him a favor.
I think that's why he mad. He
That's
got
why
blown up.
Aaron Rodgers an extra? Oh, yeah, y'all gonna hear about this.
If you want to be this, peace out. Nah, I'll pass.
Yeah. He ain't gonna be in Space Jam 2 now. No? Anybody? No?
Not good, Aaron.
Not good?
All right, next.
Yeah, let's move to the hardwood, where the Raptors tied up the series with the Bucks last night, and no one was more excited about it than Raptors superfan Drake. He was taunting Giannis the entire game and went all in on Giannis, missed free throw late in the third. He even gave head coach Nick Nurse a little shoulder rub, which it looked like the Raptors were in control. Giannis' agent clapped back at Drake today in a tweet saying, imagine a gig and an athlete on VIP seats, right next to the band, stands up on stage just to show off during the entire game, knowing cameras are all on him, occasionally even massaging the singer. Security and him both allow it. Never seen anything as disrespectful as this before. Guys, has Drake became NBA's new Spike Lee?
Yes and no. Spike wasn't nearly this annoying. I kind of disagree with the criticism, though, in terms of athletes go on stages with singers and rappers all the damn time.
With permission.
Yeah,
I don't know if the coach didn't say rub my shoulders, bro. That wasn't in the game. Rub my shoulders, Drake, third quarter, baby.
I don't have a problem with it, but the thing is, Spike Lee has dealt with the Knicks losing for a long time and still been there. Drake kind of just popped out when they've been winning. I want to see when they go on this losing streak, is he going to have the same kind of enthusiasm, still be sitting courtside, and have the same kind of attitude? When that happens, then I can start comparing him to Spike Lee, but not until then.
Somebody said he's not Spike Lee because they haven't seen him travel as much as Spike Lee does. So like you said, your real investment, not just when it's convenient.
Right.
I'm in Toronto, I'm back home at the game, it's easy. When it's actually some work for Drake, we'll see.
Here's the other thing I'm going to say. I don't think what everybody's saying, Spike Lee's passion for the Knicks was real. He'd be there even if the cameras weren't there. If there's no cameras, if the TV agreed we'll never show Drake again, I wonder how many games he would attend.
There you go. Yeah. It seems a little paper thin, right?
Yeah. That's my issue.
Go ahead. Got that big plane.
Moving on to Speak for Yourself, Baby Edition.
Baby.
Social media has been buzzing nonstop. Everyone posted his new Snapchat photo to turn into a baby. Marcellus has some fun with this, posting pictures of himself, Whitlock and Kendrick yesterday's baby.
Oh, man.
Let's see what the Times had to say. Take a listen.
Big baby.
Even Steph, 2-time MVP. I'm the best in the game. Oh, no, you're not. He didn't even surpass LeBron in his greatness. So I respect everybody. KD has the best chance, but next year it's going to be about LeBron, the Lakers storyline, and redemption. I think they're going to sell that.
There's only one.
I get it. But in corporate America, loaded with snakes.
Oh, man. My guy, Sean Merriman, he chimed in on Twitter as well, saying, Whit looked like the kid that would take this ball if he wasn't picked.
Yes.
We got, who looked the funniest, Whitlock or Marcellus?
Merriman, judge it, because I know who it is.
It was Whit, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Not
Whit.
even close.
It was Whit. I'm dead serious. It was because Whit looked like he not only take his ball, but he'll tail on the way out. Like, he looked like he's going to tell on somebody right now.
Whitlock me up. Whitlock looked like he walked in the cafeteria. I want all the snacks. Like, I'm that little big. You a little big man, dog. That is a big baby. And you got the earring on.
Right, the earring said it all.
I got to give credit though. Shout out to Tanya Ray Fox who actually sent that. She works here at Fox.
Awesome.
As well. Yeah.
I can't believe Marcellus is a bald-headed baby, but I'm taking all the heat.
I don't know what I look like. I don't know.
Both of us, I'm going to tell you the truth, both of us like B.J. Armstrong yesterday.
The official B.J. Armstrong.
51-year-old B.J. Armstrong look like that. He's still like a 12-year-old. My God. All right.
Oh, man. That's it.
Time now for Darnell's question of the day. Darnell, take it away.
All right, guys, take it to the gridiron, where we know the NFL is taking huge steps to make their game safer. Well, now, two of the most infamous football drills of all time, the Oklahoma drill and the Bull in the Ring, have been eliminated from training camp practices. Fans didn't seem too thrilled about it online. And I know you all are former football players, so I want to ask you guys, is this a good thing?
It's a great thing. And shut up, fans, all them tomorrow. Oh, they banned it. You ever
like,
get
you
it?
like that?
I hate it. Oklahoma drill, but I literally wanted to quit football every time we had to do Bull in the Ring. And for those who don't know what Bull in the Ring is, they put all the football players in a circle and then grab one of us, put you in the middle, and start calling out names and numbers.
Keep that head on the
You
swivel.
got to be your head on the swivel, and dudes are hitting you anywhere and everywhere for minutes. It's crazy, so I'm glad they banned it.
Yeah, you know, they didn't do it all the time anyway, right? I mean, I remember Marty Schottenheimer would start practice off. If we ever seemed a little down or lethargic and we didn't have the energy coming out there, he would call the offensive lineman and defensive lineman from the practice before. If they seen a little shoving or something like that on film, he would call guys up. And that's when they get practice going, especially on days, in tour days where we didn't feel like being out there. So I don't agree with that necessarily. I think they should have that. It wasn't like they were doing it every day anyway.
For what reason?
For you
what
got,
purpose?
Hey, you played with some guys, and I played with some that are scared to tackle, even on the pro level. So you put them in a position and say, hey, this is gut check time. You got to do it at least one time. If you take it completely out, what are you playing football
You exercising demons out there? What the hell? You're scared to play.
Take them to church. Take them to church.
That's interesting, Sean, because my point would be, I see the necessariness of Oklahoma drill in college football and high school football, because even at the college level, you're all like, oh, this dude ain't got the heart for it. And I didn't know that was the case in the NFL. That's why I felt kind of like, this never should have been in the NFL, because by the time you get to the NFL, you ain't checking heartbeats in the NFL.
Unfortunately.
It's all relative,
Yeah, it's
though.
all relative.
Yeah, depending on what team you're on. You got Rodney Harrison up here, boom, 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 boom. Somebody gonna be boom, boom, scared for those moments, right? I would say this, though. I never saw it translate to the game for me. It's ISO situations that I can't take it to the game. When I get in the game and Jerome Bettis is running by me, by any means necessary, coach, it could be an elbow, it could be a forearm, I don't care, I just got to get him down. Never is this ramming going on that we have to simulate.
No, I think it's a byproduct from college coaching. Because I think they did it in college like, okay, let's see who we screwed up on giving a scholarship to.
Right. Weed him out.
Good on film.
Weed him out.
Let's get him out here in Oklahoma drill and find out.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of coaches start in college, and it just carries over to the NFL.
Can I get this quick one in? All right, I got to call my boy out. Eddie Richardson, this 6'8" lineman we had in high school, huge, but a little uncoordinated, wasn't ready. Coach saw him loafing around. Bull in the ring, Eddie in the middle. Eddie was like, I can't, coach. And we was like, what? Why not? My heart hurt, coach. He just made up something. He was so scared. He said his heart hurt. We were like, man, get out of here, man. We ain't gonna hit you. You soft.
Sure.
Whitlock and Wiley, Sean Merriman is back. Let's move to the NFL, sponsored by the Spark Card from Capital One. It's been another eventful week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. First, Ben Roethlisberger apologized for publicly criticizing Antonio Brown last season. Then Brown shot back, calling Big Ben two-faced on Twitter. Well, now Ben is continuing to take the high road, addressing how he's handled the offseason criticism of his leadership.
I'd be lying if we didn't say that it doesn't bother us at times. So much. It does start to hurt. It affects your family. When it affects your family, then it can definitely affect you. You're talking leadership and you're talking relationships. This sport, relationships change on a yearly basis because guys are here and gone. And so you have to do your best to try and realize what it takes for each guy to develop the best relationship you can. And when it comes to leadership and things like that, we didn't make the playoffs last year. We didn't win our division. So I lacked in leadership because that's my job as the leader of this team is to get us to the playoffs.
Guys, I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball.
All right.
Do we think Ben is being sincere here? But also, do we think he's learned something from last season and will be a better leader moving forward?
Yes to both questions. I think he's sincere because you got to look at what he's doing right now. Either this is new messaging to some people out there or this is a return to his messaging of before when his leadership wasn't in question. Either way shows you that he has learned from last year and Antonio Brown. I sided with Antonio Brown in that feud because this is the Roethlisberger that Antonio Brown knew for many years, and then something changed. Now, you opened my eyes to what did change, and it's kind of a Tiger Woods parallel of sort, but I knew Ben Roethlisberger before he even got to the pros. So Ben was cool with everybody. Ben could roll with everyone. And that cost him a couple incidents off the field, obviously, everyone knows, and he got a little reckless. So Ben shuts it down, gets married, right? Slows the roll. And what happens in those moments? Tiger Woods showed us. You overcorrect. What happens? I can't hang with MJ. Can't hang with Barkley. What happens to him? All of a sudden, I got to be this other type of guy and leader. And you get tight and close to the vest. And then Antonio and them other cats that had status and equity were like, who's this new dude? Now that Antonio's gone, for whatever reasons, Ben is back to being himself because he's realized, I could calibrate being the married, cool, calm, collected dude and also being one of the fellas and a leader of this team.
I believe he was being sincere. I just believe it's too late. I think that he should have done it some time ago and understood how much power and influence he had over everybody else. Because if he said what he said right now, 2 years ago,
Say it.
Antonio Brown would still be there. Le'Veon Bell will still be there, and that team will still be together. But it's too late for him to come out and say that now. It's never too late to apologize and to grow up and do things different. But now you dismantled a great team. Guys are gone different places, and you had the power and influence to change everything. And all you had to do was say, you know what, I have to get better as a leader. It's my fault, and it's on me. Through all the reports that I've seen over the last year or so when Antonio Brown was talking about, I've never seen Ben apologize, never seen Ben say anything other than try to get himself out of the limelight and put it on Antonio Brown, put it on Le'Veon Bell, had the offensive lineman going at Le'Veon Bell and different guys. You could have squashed all of that. If you went to the offensive lineman and said, guys, we have to stop this, they would have stopped. That team would have still been there. So it's great he apologized. I understand he's grown up and doing things different, but it's still too late.
Never too late to do the right thing. Point two, sometimes less is more. Sometimes the number one thing stopping you from growing up might be it might have been Antonio Brown. Again, when you have the best receiving core, maybe the most talented, gifted receiver, you don't focus on all the little things because you can be a little bit sloppy and still be effective. Now that things have been taken away from Ben, he has no choice but to go this other route. I think it puts Mike Tomlin in a better position to have a strong relationship with Big Ben. And so I think Ben is being sincere. I think Ben, again, and Marcellus, you know better than me and Sean, you've been married. There's a process.
No.
There's a process. There's a process.
No.
There's a process.
Oh, big
to
time.
getting your wife and all that in order.
Yes.
Because again, now, and I don't mean that, just getting comfortable in the relationship where now he can reconnect with his teammates and his wife is good.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of
balancing act.
There's a lot of people that had to be okay with him reestablishing himself as a more hands-on leader and one of the guys. And the timing's right. And I think the Steelers are going to find out less is more this year.
Yeah, it's interesting, one, about that dynamic of being married. I mean, Ben used to be out there, and now he's married, and then the people who knew you from out there don't necessarily let go as easy as you desire. So there's always that tug of war, and sometimes you overcorrect, like I said before. But I like your point. Is it too late? It seems that way in terms of construction of the great talents that they lost. But think about who's on this roster now. A lot of young talent, like Antonio Brown even said, they trying to get paid. They listening to Ben Roethlisberger. Or guys who've already been paid, or they're new to the team, so they're going to respect and defer to Ben Roethlisberger. It's actually perfectly constructed for him to go out there with this message now.
Yeah, I just think that he had more power than he knew, and he waited too long. If this would have happened 2 years ago, he could have wrecked it. To your point of him being married, settled down, and life change, he's still an older guy. He's still been around long enough. He's not trying to figure it out anymore. I just think that he took the easy way out. And by getting himself out of the limelight and let Antonio Brown and these guys continue to dig a big hole for themselves. When you easily could have called them, you're Ben Roethlisberger. You could show up at these guys' houses and say, you're going to talk to me. We're going to sit down. And they would have listened. If he would have came out and said, hey, I was just being immature. I need to be a better leader. That whole thing would have been squashed.
I gotta push back.
Because Antonio Brown you already know they're immature.
Here's the thing. When your maturity is through the normal, natural evolution, what you're saying is correct. That process is smooth. When it's abrupt, when Tiger Woods, abrupt, Ben Roethlisberger, abrupt, things change, everything, your world flips upside down, and you make changes like that, it takes time for things to crystallize, and I think that's where Ben Roethlisberger is now.
All right, before we go, I'd like to say a word or two about the most improbable and entertaining playoff season we've ever seen. And it's happening in the National Hockey League. You still have time to catch a piece of it as the St. Louis Blues and the Boston Bruins clash in the Stanley Cup Final starting Monday night. Let me get you up to speed. The two number one seeds, Calgary and Tampa Bay, both lost in the first round. Seriously. After winning a record 62 games in the regular season and drawing comparisons to some of Wayne Gretzky's all-time great Edmonton teams, the Tampa Bay Lightning exited the postseason in just 4 games, swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's the equivalent of the 73-win Golden State Warriors getting swept in the first round of the 2016 NBA playoffs. Crazy, isn't it? But it's Tampa's collapse. That's even more crazy. That's the story. There's a story even more crazy than that. The St. Louis Blues, in the first week of January, the Blues were in last place across the NHL. They were widely seen as the softest team in the NHL. The entire roster was on the trading block. Management turned the team over to interim coach Craig Berube, best known as a goon for the Philadelphia Flyers. No one knows if Berube can coach, but he can certainly motivate. Last night, the Blues beat San Jose 5-1 to qualify for the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in 49 years. For the first time since the organization ran off coach Scotty Bowman in a power struggle. Bowman is the GOAT of GOATs when it comes to coaching. His resume is better than Bill Belichick's and Phil Jackson's. In the late 1960s, as a first-time head coach, he led the expansion St. Louis Blues to 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals. When executives within the Blues organization started micromanaging Bowman, he bolted to the Montreal Canadiens and won 5 Stanley Cups in the 1970s. He coached the Pittsburgh Penguins to the title in 1992. He later won 3 more with the Detroit Red Wings. For the past 49 years, the Blues have suffered the curse of the Bowman Beano. They unearthed the greatest coach in history and ran him off with front office dysfunction. And now they're on the brink of going from worst to first. You really only see these stories in movies about baseball. This is Major League or the Bad News Bears on ice. It's the magic of sports. This is why you never quit. Yesterday, I ripped Magic Johnson for quitting as president of the Los Angeles Lakers. I shared a personal story from my career as a journalist to make my point. Well, here's another one. At age 22, I chose to not play my 5th year of football at Ball State. I quit. We won the Mid-American Conference Championship that year. I've regretted that decision for 30 years. That's why I hate quitting and love the story of the 2019 St. Louis Blues. Whitlock and Wiley, Sean Merriman is back. Let's move to the NFC East, where the 2 young gun quarterbacks in the division, Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz, are both expected to receive contract extensions this offseason. Both of these guys have shown promise, but they also have issues hanging over them, with questions looming about Wentz's health and Dak's ability to elevate the guys around him. Even still, both their extensions are expected to be in the $30 million per year range. The question here, gentlemen, Marcellus, more deserving of a $30 million deal, choose one, Wentz or Prescott?
Prescott. The injury risk. Look at your butt. Okay, let me give Carson one thing. He has a higher ceiling in terms of performance when we've seen him out there in those flashes. But everything else is for Dak. First of all, let's talk about these injuries. Carson Wentz, good Lord. 2015, wrist, rib, 16, ACL, LCL, back. That's every year. Major injuries, not like just, oh, my ankle's sore. Major injuries, that's one issue. Greatest ability is availability. 2, Dak's team has responded better to him than the Philadelphia Eagles have responded to Carson Wentz. Remember, the Super Bowl's not on Carson Wentz. That's Nick Foles. So we're talking about a 4-12 Dallas team, and then show up 13-3. 2 times they've been in the playoffs with Dak Prescott, and he's played all the games, all 16. So I just got to go with the safer investment, even though it doesn't have the greater upside. His availability is going to be his greatest ability.
I agree with you on the on Carson Wentz because of the injuries. I was put in a situation where my contract was coming up. I had 3 great years, and I had a knee injury in 2008. They wanted to see if I was going to come back and be healthy. I just unfortunately never got back there in order to get paid. The problem is that if you give Dak Prescott $30 million, this is a class you put him in. Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, maybe Kirk Cousins. He don't even belong in that top 5 of guys at $30 million. So if you're looking at ability and the potential that Carson Wentz can get back to what he was before the injuries, you give it to Carson Wentz first. I don't believe that Dak Prescott is a $30 million a year quarterback, period. Not on that team, not on anybody's team. Definitely not on that team because they're stacked, they're built all over the place. And he's not good enough to go to another team where he's going to be able to lead the charge and get that $30 million. So if you're going to give that money to anybody, you give it to Carson Wentz.
I like Sean's argument in this regard. What Sean's arguing is, best case scenario, Dak's never worth $30 million.
Yeah, I hear it.
He can think of a best case scenario where Carson Wentz could be worth $30 million. Seeing his point, I agree with you. One guy's been beat up.
Beat up since college.
It's like a car that, oh, man, we had to replace the brakes. Oh, we had to, redo the engine and things like that. It doesn't matter. You start tinkering under that hood, it's never going to run like a new car, ever.
Yeah.
And that would be my fear. I don't think Dak's worth $30 million, and I don't think he'll ever be worth $30 million.
Ooh.
Even if it escalates that the top quarterbacks are making $60 million, I still wouldn't feel good about giving Dak $30. But
Let me say this. They say a leaky water hose never has just one patch. You ever heard that? That means, sucker, once it goes, it's going to keep going like injuries. Once your knee went,
back, Achilles.
Dude, I was injury prone. Once the back went, then the foot, it just keeps going usually. That said, Dak will be worth $30 million. You touched on it. It's not just what the top quarterback's going to make. It's what the median is going to look like, what the salary cap and the inflation is going to look like. Dak's going to be around there. So right now, yeah, maybe he's not in that top 5 class, obviously, in terms of contract value, but he will be there. And why not get him now before that's going to be 40 or 50 million? You don't want to play that game.
Uncle Jimmy's here.
Ooh.
Or who?
Speak my name correctly.
Bishop.
The Bishop Jimmy Tutu
is here. I'm sorry. Bishop Jimmy Tutu's here.
I love you, sir.
You have any thoughts on the show so far?
Oh, my brother, do I have a thought? I do truly believe that you have been struck upon the head and you are stuck on stupid sitting upon. Wait a minute. Did you not sit next to Keith Thurman and tell him that you hope Manny Pacquiao whoops his ass? Did you not realize that the man was in striking distance?
Yes, he did.
I have 2 words for you. Lawsuit. Be careful.
All right. Here's a highlight from our discussion earlier about Giannis. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, is currently in the emergency room. His status as an NBA superstar is in critical condition.
The playoffs will force you to go to plan B and quicker than you want to. You got to go through this. And he's just going through the same thing that the greats have gone through.
You got a problem with my Antetokounmpo?
What'd you say? You got to throw a vowel in there somewhere, man.
Uncle Jimmy, you have any thoughts on Giannis?
First of all, I would like to say
I'm
that
sorry. Bishop Tutu.
Yeah, respect.
I will respect your stupidness.
Yeah.
Tell me something, brother. It really troubles me that I have to be here again today. Was I not just here just moments ago, speaking of the problems and troubles that have gone through my brothers in your country?
Yes, you
Yeah.
Joel Embiid,
First of all, I have a problem right now. I have been forced to come here and defend my brother, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What? Giannis.
They say that you all in your country call him the Greek freak. I am here to tell you, I know the man's father, I know the man's brother, I know the man's family, and they are from the high rise of the south side of Watutu.
The good
He
times.
is not from Greek.
He's not from Greek. Not from Greek.
First of all, I would like to say to you that I blame the both of you.
Where's Greek?
I blame the both of you for my brother's struggles during these playoffs. This brother has too been made weak from your American culture. Just like the brother Joel Embiid. I told you before, Popeye's chicken, Kardashians. This gluttony for the desires of these things have made you soft, fat, and colonialist. You, Mr. Whitlock, you choose to accentuate the shortcomings of my brothers for your own poots and giggles. Tell me this, is it not you that brought these brothers into the world of Popeye's chicken and Kardashians?
Yes, it is.
Is it not you that these brothers look up to every day? They watch you. They watch you do what you do. You are single-handedly responsible for changing the way that these brothers do workouts. Marcellus, in your day, did you not do a curl like this?
Yeah.
Why does Mr. Whitlock have my brothers now doing curls like these?
3-piece.
Listen to me, sir. The great Nelson Mandingo teaches us that in order for a man to achieve superior happiness, he must drink the green tea made from the earwax of a wino. Once you do this, you purify the mind, the body, and the loins. My brothers need a purification from your nation. Tell me this, Mr. Whitlock, instead of every day looking at my brothers, laughing at them, has it never occurred to you that they come to you for nourishment? In my country, the young men, when they thirst, they sip upon the nipple of knowledge.
Ooh, we getting deep on
Has it ever occurred to you, with the 38 double Ds that you possess, that you could possibly feed the entire NBA as well as Giannis Antetokounmpo?
double D's. Man, get this boy out of here.
You should think of more than thyself. Believe it or not, there are some things bigger than you.
Get him, Bishop. Get him, Bishop. Go long. Keep going. I ain't got no rating. Got the 38 double dumb. Oh, man, what we got to do?
Offended by that.
Man.
But I'm going to let it go.
The whole association. Feed them. Feed them, Whitlock. Feed the association.
I'm going to get to my approval rating for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Man,
Antetokounmpo.
we can't do it.
Sorry, 15 in job.
Right.
15 in job performance. I have a 13 in all-time greatness. 21 in character, 19 in authenticity. I got him at a 68. He's not playing well. I had to knock him down job performance.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't won the MVP yet, so I'm not going to move up his all-time greatness.
See, I just thought that was already in the bag because he's a global figure. They want to take the game across the borders, and he's going to win the MVP. It's a traveling trophy, so that's why I got him a little higher all-time status. Three-time All-Star as well. Could win Defensive Player of the Year as well. You imagine that?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That's some Jordan stuff. All that said, 78, almost a GOAT, but recently we've seen the struggles hit the wall, literally the wall of Toronto. We'll see what happens.